Coming up tonight on VCU InSight.
I am Valeria Collardo, and up next I got the latest update on flu activity and how you can protect yourself from it.
I'm Kairis Manzanares, and I'll tell you about a bill that could grant immigrant driver's licenses in the Commonwealth.
I'm Maddie Jones, reporting from Petersburg, where I'll tell you about the lost history of Pocahontas Island.
All this and more.
VCU InSight starts right now.
From the Richard T. Robertson School of Media and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University, named Best Student Newscast in the Mid-Atlantic, this is VCU InSight.
Good evening and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Malik Bowden.
And I'm Brianna Scott. Thanks for joining us. Americans are suffering with the flu at record levels. It's been almost a decade since the flu outbreak has been this severe. VCU InSight's Valeria Collardo is here to tell us more about what's happening and how to protect yourself. Valeria?
That's right, Brianna. The Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, says that 2009 was the last time America saw this much misery from the flu. Virginia has not been spared and has reported at least one death, that of a 7-year-old boy. Health experts say it is important to get your flu shot this season. This year, the influenza virus hit the U.S. with a severe H3N2 strain. The outbreak has put thousands of adults in the hospital and claiming the lives of more than 50 children.
Every year, children in America die of the flu because flu is a deadly disease.
Health experts recommend annual flu shots for everyone over the age of 6 months.
Even though flu is at high levels right now, if someone has not gotten their shot since last fall till now, we recommend still going to get it. It's not too late to get your flu shot.
The newest flu shot targets the dangerous H3N2 strain. Getting the flu shot may not guarantee full protection, but experts say it will lessen the symptoms that come with the flu.
It took my body like 2 to 3 weeks to recover from the flu.
However, getting the flu shot is not an option for some people.
My biggest fear is since I don't have insurance to get the vaccine and I do get sick, I won't be able to go see a doctor, and also I've seen the toll it takes on people.
Dr. Woolard says that people with immunity illnesses are more vulnerable to the complications from the flu.
It causes a really serious illness. There's a lot of people at risk of serious illness and complications like pneumonia, hospitalization, and death from the flu.
Other helpful tips include washing your hands, avoiding close contact with people, and most importantly, getting vaccinated. We don't know an exact number of total flu deaths because doctors are only required to report child deaths from the flu. But here in Virginia, a Glen Allen family blamed the death of a 59-year-old woman for the flu. Back to you, Brianna.
VCU Student Health is offering free vaccinations to students. Flu shots are also available at your local CVS, Rite Aid, and Walmart. For more information on flu vaccinations and prevention, visit www.cdc.gov.
Business owners on Richmond's Broad Street are looking for some relief. They've expressed ongoing concern that they're losing customers because of construction. The Greater Richmond Transit Company's Post project was set to be complete by last November, but now the work is expected to stretch into spring. Owners of shops and restaurants say all the congestion means shoppers are avoiding them. They say that they're losing hundreds of dollars a day. There is some discussion of whether the city will offer some financial support to these affected businesses. For more information on the construction project, visit the GRTC website at grtc.com.
A new bill headed to the Senate would mandate anti-sexual harassment training for Virginia lawmakers. Current movements such as #MeToo and Time's Up have put sexual harassment in the spotlight. I talked with the patron of this bill, and she says it's necessary.
This is the court, right here.
House Bill 371 passed with a vote of 88 to 10, making it Virginia's first anti-sexual harassment training bill. Bill sponsor, Delegate Roxanne Robinson, wants members of the General Assembly and full-time staff to complete the training every 2 years.
I felt that this was very timely, and I wanted to protect all the people who come here. I wanted a respectful professional environment in the General Assembly.
A 2016 EEOC report found 1 in 4 women say they've been sexually harassed at work. 70% of people who say they've experienced harassment did not report it, many fearing losing their jobs. YWCA clinician Kathleen Carey has seen clients who struggle to come forward out of fear And Carrie says that she thinks this bill is a great idea.
And so many people who have come forward in that movement have been because of somebody with a great deal of power, which is what legislators are. They're people with a lot of power.
While there is no data to back up the success of anti-sexual harassment trainings, attorney Colleen Quinn says training can be effective by making people focus on what's appropriate in the workplace.
So it's not so much the training itself, it's what does the employer do with the training? Do they enforce the training, and do they make sure that the training resonates with the employee?
If the bill survives the legislative process, it would be in effect for legislative employees January 1st, 2019, and the training would be implemented by July 1st, 2019. Now, Democrats and Republicans are at odds over how effective this training might be. Democrat Delegate Vivian Watts is arguing for a more accountable, transparent policy. To track this bill and others for updates, visit virginiageneralassembly.gov.
Our legacy is America's dream. That's according to VCU President Michael Rao, who held his 5th annual State of the University address at the start of the semester. Over 100 people gathered in one of the new lecture halls in Cabell Library to hear the president speak. He discussed the history of the university and its future. He also made it clear that VCU is surpassing standards in diversity.
Black and Latinx students at VCU, especially women, graduate at higher rates than our university average. So, we have achieved equal graduation rates for students across racial groups. That's huge. That's a really big deal.
President Rao also says that while VCU has grown exponentially, it will never outgrow its mission. The mission is still simple: to improve lives, to save lives, and to give meaning. Undocumented immigrants from across Virginia gathered at the state capitol to lend support to a bill that can make it easier for them to drive. The bill would give them access to driver privilege cards. Karis Maneras tells us more.
It's just a matter of dignity.
Strong words from Richmond Mayor LeVar Stoney, who joined a rally organized by group Take Action Virginia, comprised of immigrant workers and labor unions supporting Senate Bill 1345, which grants driver privilege cards allowing undocumented people living in Virginia the opportunity to drive legally.
Entonces, una licencia en este momento es indispensable, se podría decir. Es muy necesario para nuestras familias, para nuestros amigos, para nuestros hijos. Tienen que mover sus niños a escuelas, a hospitales, a lugares, a áreas públicas, y no pueden.
According to the American Immigration Council, 1 in every 8 Virginia resident is an immigrant. The delegates sponsoring Bill 1345 say it would require driver and vision exams, which could reduce accidents and improve the economy.
The passing of this bill wouldn't just grant immigrant driver's licenses, but bring an estimated of $1 billion into the Commonwealth in income taxes, driver's fees, and insurance premium taxes.
Ventura Severiano, an undocumented immigrant who has lived in Virginia for 18 years, says a privilege card would benefit him and the state equally.
Y así podemos tener trabajos, podemos movernos de un lugar a otro y crecer también en economía, y eso le beneficia al Estado también.
For Mayor LeVar Stoney, this isn't a Democratic or Republican issue. It's about embracing all who call Virginia home.
What I don't want is the continued policies that push people back into the shadows of society.
For VCU InSight, I'm Karis Manzanares.
Since the rally, the bill died in committee. However, the group says they will continue to fight to make the lives of undocumented immigrants in Virginia easier.
VCU lead professor Dr. Kimberly Matthews has a new book on the history of the Richmond Crusade for voters. Cynthia Beasley is in studio with Dr. Matthews to talk more about her book and the organization's history.
I'm in studio today with Dr. Kimberly Matthews. Her book uses pictures to tell the story of the Richmond Crusade for Voters, an organization founded in 1956 to fight against efforts to suppress minority voter turnout. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Very excited to speak about it. So, Dr. Matthews, you're actively involved with this organization, and it's been working for about 62 years now, correct?
Yes, the organization's 62 years old.
That's amazing. And when did you decide that you wanted to put this history together? What story did you think needed to be told?
The story of the organization itself really needed to be told. It was one of those hidden gems, Richmond African-American hidden gems. And I wanted to tell this story because I wanted to preserve the history in one place using pictures.
And why did you decide to use photos?
I love history and I love reading history, but I love to see photos of the people we're talking about and the places that we're talking about in the book. So also people seem to connect to it a little bit more when they see a photo with just text.
Because it does make a big difference to see the faces. It kind of personalizes it.
Absolutely.
Throughout the story.
It personalizes it. It takes people back. Some of my people who have purchased the book say, I remember this person, that person was my school teacher, or just pictures of Broad Street, and people go up and down Broad Street all the time, so it brings people back.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing. And all of the photos have these great captions, and at the end of each caption I noticed that you have the source of where you found the photos, and it's anywhere from newspapers to universities to libraries and to families. What was that like, tracking all of those photos down?
It was very interesting. First I did the research on the organization, and then I started looking for photos that would connect to the research. So I started here at VCU at Cabell Library, and Ray Bonas is great, a librarian over there. He helped me start my process. Virginia Union University, Virginia State University, the main library on Franklin Street, the Valentine Museum as well, and the Library of Virginia were my main sources. But those personal pictures from people were my pride and joy.
They're really incredible, and it's crazy to think that there's so much history and you got to hear it firsthand, because you would interview a lot of the families, correct, once you connected with them?
I interviewed a lot of the families. Dr. William Ferguson Reed, he's actually still alive. He was one of the founders. He's about 92 or 93, lives in Maryland with his family, and I was able to talk to him. And he was a proponent of this book. He really wanted this book to happen, and he was a resource for me. So I'd give him a call or email to get right back to me.
That's wonderful. And then, was there any story or any moment in particular that really just stood out to you?
The story of Ruth Tinsley stands out to me. Within the book I have 4 photos, and her story is very historic because she she's the wife of a minister, and she was just outside of the Tallheimers when they were protesting, and a police officer came up to her and said, you know, you can't stay in here, this is a protest area, and she's like, yes, I can stand here. Yeah, I can stand here. And he's like, no, you can't stand here, you'll be arrested. So the photos, and this is just, you know, the lady in the photo kind of looks like my mother, so it was just like,
really touching.
Yeah, and so she was a rebel, basically, and she was arrested. In the pictures, there's 4 pictures that actually show what happened that day. So just ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
That's wonderful. And how does it feel to be able to have put this amazing piece of work together that just tells these stories to everyone?
I'm very proud of it because I want it to reach those who have maybe never heard of the Richmond Crusade for Voters before, to realize the extraordinary things that these people did back in 1956, which were very dangerous times. So I'm just very proud to have preserved a piece of African-American Richmond history.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. So thank you so much, Dr. Matthews, for meeting with us today.
Thank you.
And her book, Images of Modern America, The Richmond Crusade for Voters, is available now. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Cynthia. What if you could shoot hoops and raise money for breast cancer awareness at the same time? That's exactly what the Coaches for the Cure event did at the Arthur Ashe Center in February. 10 basketball teams from Virginia, as well as West Virginia and Washington, D.C. and Canada, met to square off and raise money for families affected by breast cancer. The event featured 5 games, and each game began with a check given to a family affected by the disease. In total, Coaches for the Cure raised $3,000.
A family in Richmond is shedding light on the stigma surrounding those struggling with mental health problems. Reporter April Harshman has more on this story.
Black lights lit up the Bon Secours Redskins training camp with neon colors and positivity as the Cameron K. Gallagher Foundation held their 3rd annual Speak Up Light Up fundraiser.
It's a big night for us. It's a blast. It's not your typical black tie gala. Our style is more fun, innovative, creative, and goofy.
Gallagher and his wife say the foundation aims to erase the stigma surrounding teenage depression, bring programs to adolescents, and fight for mental health.
It is Speak Up Light Up because In everyone's life, we all have darkness, and we choose to be the light for people that maybe are struggling in darkness.
The event raised over $100,000 to fund free classes and programs that the organization offers to local schools and communities throughout the year.
I think events like this really encourage people to be transparent about the issue of mental health. Just to speak up and talk about it proactively is a key to saving a lot of teens from a lot of heartbreak.
It was the Gallagher's daughter, Cameron, who, after suffering from depression and anxiety, made it her goal to raise awareness about mental health. However, after she died from an undiagnosed heart condition, Cameron's parents made it their mission to continue her legacy.
It's a horrible nightmare that I have to live with, but really at that moment, something beautiful was born because she's changing the world. A 16-year-old girl is changing the way we look at our mental health.
For VCU InSight, I'm April Harshman.
The foundation also holds a Speak Up 5K every fall in Richmond. For more events and information, you can visit their website at ckgfoundation.org. 74 million, that's how many Americans don't have access to dental care, according to the National Association of Dental Plans.
But VCU InSight Cynthia Beasley spoke with one local organization that is trying to change that.
Meet the Dean family.
When was the last time you've been to the dentist?
I'm gonna say it's been like 2 to 3 years? 2 years possibly?
They, along with their mom Michelle, spent their morning at the dentist.
I was actually pretty excited to come.
They are just 3 of more than 5.5 million children who have been helped by the American Dental Association's Give Kids a Smile program.
So what did you have done today?
X-rays and cleaning maybe?
The VCU dental community was among 30,000 people nationwide who volunteered to provide free care to those without dental insurance on Give Kids a Smile Day.
The other option would be to pay out of pocket, but nowadays with how cost and money and I'm in school, work, it's hard for me to come up with that, even when I had insurance.
People working hard but have to make hard decisions on, what am I going to feed my child, or am I going to get my child some dental care?
That's why projects like these are so important, to be able to reach out and take care of those people that need the care.
All the patients and their family have to do is check in with a volunteer. They're then brought to an area like this one where they're examined by VCU dental professors and students and given care anywhere from dental cleanings to root canals and extractions.
Cleanings, preventive dentistry, sealants, fillings, we did an extraction earlier. So it's a pretty broad gamut of care that we're providing.
The kids are having a good time, I'm having a good time, I'm being educated, I'm finding new resources.
Given the roughly 70 million who can't afford dental care, these families are some of the lucky ones. For VCU InSight, I'm Cynthia Beasley.
To find more resources or to see if your family qualifies for next year's Give Kids a Smile Day, you can visit ada.org. The VCU women's indoor and outdoor track and field team has experienced unprecedented success recently, winning 3 consecutive A10 championships. VCU InSight Sakia Konen is in studio with the head coach of the track and field team to discuss their quest for a 4th title.
Thanks, Malik. That's right. John Riley is now in his 10th season of coaching. Coach Riley, thank you so much again for being here today.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So your coaching career began right out of high school in your hometown of New Orleans. Tell me how you got here to VCU.
Well, it's a easy path. Not everybody gets to enjoy the steps that I took, but as a graduate assistant, I actually coached at my alma mater, Southeast Missouri State University, and I immediately got a job at Belmont University. So from there, I coached 2 years at Belmont University and got a call to VCU to be the head coach. So it's a pretty quick transition. So as a high school coach, then back to school to get my master's, then a quick job at Belmont University, now a head coach at VCU.
Absolutely. That's so nice. Great. If you could describe this year's work ethic in a few words, this year's team, how would you describe them?
This team is, I would say, it's probably one of the best working groups that I've had. Just with the raw, the diversion of just having a good amount of seniors, juniors, and freshmen all together. The freshmen get to feed off the experience of the seniors. So therefore, there's a really good working relationship.
Absolutely, I love it. And starting with just one championship for the women back in 2015 to now having 3 consecutive titles, what would you say you're expecting from each member of the team to contribute to win another title this year?
Well, just do what each member has to do what they're capable of doing, not trying to create any new magic and do something that they've never done before. Just do what you're capable of doing, and as a team, we will be successful.
Absolutely. And once again, you just kind of told me, but you've told your athletes once before to not do anything different or fancy, but to do exactly what you know. How effective is that when it's time to compete at the conference level?
It's very effective because you're not stressing about trying to PR at a meet, and that's not what we're asking you to do. We're just asking you to do what you were trained to do, and not anything else, not what your parents told you the night before. Hey, I know coach didn't tell you this, but I want you to do this. You'll be successful. No, just listen to your coaches and trust the process.
Absolutely.
So I tell each one of my athletes to write down what they want to do this weekend, time-wise, and 2, believe that you can do it, and 3, imagine yourself in that situation doing something good. And sometimes when you write it down, you believe it, and you actually envision yourself doing it, it'll come through.
Sure. So. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much, Coach Riley, again for being here today.
Okay.
And back to you all at the desk.
Thanks, Sakia. It's Black History Month, and while most people know about Martin Luther King Jr. and Harriet Tubman, we want to share a little unknown part of Virginia's Black history. Our Maddie Jones is here in studio to tell us just that.
The discovery I made was Pocahontas Island. During my visit, I found out that some of America's greatest historical figures have roots there. Take a look.
Hidden along the banks of the Appomattox River lies Pocahontas Island, which is known as the oldest Black community in the United States.
We're the oldest Black community in USA because starting back in the 17th century to the present, Blacks have some way, somehow have occupied this place.
Founded in 1752, the island was once home to over 800 people, while today its population is around 60. Richard Stewart is known as the unofficial mayor of Pocahontas Island. Now in his 70s, he has dedicated his life to preserving the history of the island through its Black History Museum filled with one-of-a-kind artifacts.
Let's talk about Pocahontas. Let's talk about the white history, the Black history, the Native American history. We was involved in the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812.
Richard says Pocahontas Island is a vast pool of knowledge.
Nat Turner, father was sold less than 3/4 of a mile away from here, and one of Nat Turner's soldiers had escaped, came into this area. So Pocahontas has a lot of history.
Shackles like these could have been used to restrain slave revolt leader Gabriel Prosser, who had ties to Pocahontas Island through the Underground Railroad.
Gabriel Prosser of Richmond, a slave revolt over there. About 4 to 5 of our people was lynched after Gabriel Prosser. They took part in the slave revolt in Richmond.
Richard says he hopes one day Pocahontas Island will be recognized as a historical Mecca.
Richard says he hopes the younger generation of Pocahontas Island will step up to maintain the integrity of their history after he is gone. For VCU InSight, I'm Maddie Jones.
Thanks, Maddie. If you are interested in visiting the Pocahontas Island Black History Museum, call 804-861-8889 for an appointment.
A co-working space is opening up in Richmond created by and for women. InSight's Kimberly Strother takes us inside the grand opening of a female-centric venue known as The Broad.
Richmond is such an exciting, creative, and hungry city for new things. It just seemed like a natural fit.
Imagine having an interactive workspace and social club specifically designed for female and femme-presenting professionals. That's what founder and owner Allie Greenberg says is behind The Broad. She says having a place for women to come together and be creative and productive is vital.
A space like The Broad is allowing us to connect in a centralized way, and from there, potentially we'll be able to actually make change because people, for now, are actually listening.
Women from all over the Richmond area attended the grand opening party, including local reporter Allison Norleon.
It was a cool experience to see women from all walks of life in the same room, celebrating this space that's been created for us.
For only $300 for a 6-month membership, the broads, as Allie likes to call them, will use the space for work during the day, while evenings will provide social events like yoga, wine nights, movie nights, and even political and feminist discussion. The Broad offers a communal workspace, coffee bar, and even a place to hang out with friends after work. Allie says with the recent political discourse on women's rights and gender equality, the Broad is necessary now more than ever.
In the climate today, we have the opportunity to actually be heard when we speak, not just to come together and talk.
For VCU InSight, I'm Kimberly Strother.
To learn more about the Broad and upcoming events, visit the website at wethebroad.org.
One of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 20th century has come to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, and even to our backyards. The Terracotta Army exhibit shows the legacy of the first emperor of China. Giant replica statues of the ancient Chinese army soldiers have popped up in front of the Byrd Theater, the National, the Altria, and various other locations in Richmond. Nearly 8,000 figures were discovered in China in 1974, and the VMFA exhibit features 10 life-size figures, as well as 130 pieces, 40 of which have never been displayed in the United States. The exhibit will be at the VMFA until March 11th. Tickets can be bought online or by calling 804-340-1405.
Black History Month is well underway, and one group in Henrico is educating others on unique African American culture. Lakota Smith has more on this celebration of diversity.
The Allegro Folklore Society has been gracing stages with their music and dance for over 25 years. This past Friday, EFS performed at the Henrico Theater, where they were met with a full house of spectators. The performance featured music, dancing, and even storytelling aimed at educating others about the Allegro history and culture. Janine Bell, President and Artistic Director of EFS, talks about how through education of the public, EFS hopes to be able to inspire all who attend.
We hope that we touch people and that they do, as I said, feel good about it. Education isn't something that just happens in a classroom. Every day is an opportunity to learn and grow. And so we hope that people can be with us and find enlightenment, find enrichment, and particularly for African Americans, find themselves.
Tasha Holland, mother and attendee of the performance, spoke about the importance of exposing her children to their culture and heritage.
The society that we live in is ever-changing, and they don't really get enough information regarding the culture. So as many as events or any information that's out there, you know, I think it's always good to bring your kids, your family, whoever out to get that understanding, that information.
The Society performs often in Richmond and is always eager to bring in new faces to learn and experience for themselves the beauty of the music, dance, and folklore of the Allegro Folklore Society. With VCU Student News, I'm Lakota Smith.
To learn more about the Allegro Folklore Society or learn when their next performance will be, visit efsinc.org.
And that does it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check out our website at insight.vcu.edu.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under VCU InSight. Contact us with any stories you'd like to see on our show.
And if you missed our show or would like to watch it again, you can find us on YouTube at VCU InSight. Thanks for watching. I'm Malik Bowden.
And I'm Brianna Scott. We'll see you next time.